Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about past life synastry. And I don't mean for this to be like a definitive list. I actually just want to share some of my real lived experiences. There was a time when I was in school to become a hypnotherapist back in 2018, where I did a lot of past life regression on myself. Like when we were training, we would each like train each other and do these past life regressions. So I had the unique opportunity of actually having a lot of past life regressions and seeing a lot of different people in my life in these past lives. And then, of course, being an astrologer or studying astrology since I was a teenager, I had all of these people's charts. So I was able to kind of come up with some themes that I saw as far as these people that I saw in these previous lifetimes and certain synastry contacts. So I want to just actually share about like my experiences of that and some people from a past life that I've seen in my life and the synastry that I've had. And then I also want to open it up for you guys to share, because this isn't a definitive list. Like, I'd love to know, what are your thoughts? Like, if you have done past life regression, or also, now I actually don't really practice hypnosis anymore. I definitely use some of the techniques in my healing sessions. But I feel like I can actually go to past lives in my clients or in myself without actually doing a full hypnosis. So I don't want you guys to think that's the only way that you can access a past life is like by doing a hypnotherapy session, although it's a great way if you love to be really relaxed. I definitely recommend it, although I don't actively use it on my clients anymore. So I'd love to hear your thoughts also, if you have some experience in seeing your past lives or your clients' past lives, what are some of those contacts that you've had? I would love to hear that as well. So this is going to be probably expected, but 12th house synastry. We have to talk about 12th house synastry. That seems to be the common denominator in a lot of past life synastry, not just for myself, also with clients. It is like the biggest theme, I think, is 12th house synastry when we're experiencing something that goes beyond this life, because I kind of think of the 12th house as like the unconscious, right? So it's definitely the past life, but also just what's contained in like the ethers of our consciousness, right? So strong 12th house emphasis in the synastry, and it doesn't matter like whether it's your planets going into their 12th house, that's common, or the other way, their planets going into your 12th house. It doesn't seem to matter which way it's going. These are very commonly showing up in past life synastry. And I think, most people would probably agree, because the 12th house is also associated with, karma and karmic themes. And it doesn't really seem to matter which planet it is, although, of course, like the outer planets, are going to be more of a generational thing. But when we're dealing with people with different ages, which we often are when we're dealing with these past life connections, it could still be significant. Say, like, if you don't have your natal Saturn in your 12th house, and then someone's Saturn goes into your 12th house, like that could still be karmic. But like for me, I do have my natal Saturn in my 12th house. So like everybody in my generation has that. Within a few years. So like, I don't consider that to be karmic, but when like someone has like their sun, moon, Venus, Mars, and Saturn in my 12th house, then I would consider that to be karmic. Now, it's not going to be a rule 100% of the time. I mean, you don't have a past life with every single person who is going to have planets in your 12th house or some of these other contexts that I'm talking about, but it's like when there is a significant relationship, that's when there could have been a past life, right? So it's not just like, oh, you could pick someone across the world you've never even met and they have planets in your 12th house and you've had a past life with them. That's not how this works. But it's like, if you do have a significant relationship with someone and you do have these contacts, it's quite likely that you did have a past life. And it also, I think it's even more likely if you have like more than one of these in the same synastry, more than one of these things I'm going to talk about. And then also, just real quick, a word on past lives. If you're not fully sold on the belief, like if you haven't experienced in hypnosis and regression, and like you haven't had this healing from like realizing your past lives and you're not really sure about it, it also doesn't really matter like whether this really happened in a past life or not. What matters the most is the healing that you gain from understanding this connection on a deeper level. So, like, even if it is your imagination when you're having this regression or you're having this vision or whatever, like, that's not really, relevant, like, whether it's imagination or real. What's the most important, what's the most relevant is like the healing that happens. And, like, if you've done this kind of work, when you see yourself in this other body and you see this person in the other body and you see what's happened, that can be very healing. And so that's the most important thing about past life work. So it doesn't actually matter, like, if we're going to prove this, like, what matters is the healing that happens for you when you are seeing this and you're knowing this at the soul level, right? So the first thing, 12th house synastry, of course, that's probably kind of known at this point, right? That can be very karmic, that could show past lives. So this one too is going to be pretty obvious. South node synastry, right? The south node is one of those points that when there's a close conjunction to it, or even, within 5 degrees or 6 even, this definitely can show a past life connection. And this is one that I often point out to clients because it's very common that people are coming to me to try to get answers when there's some south node activation in synastry, especially by conjunction. This is like very like ding, 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 ding. This is karmic. Now, when I say karmic, I don't necessarily mean negative. There's good karma too, right? So it's not just that there's bad karma, but you do want to look at the nature of the planet involved. Of course, Saturn or Pluto on the south node in synastry could be more negative themes to be healed. Now, that doesn't mean the relationship has to be negative in this lifetime, but it could mean that there was something that happened in a previous lifetime that was quite heavy. So I have seen that with Saturn on the south node, Pluto on the south node, that the themes from a previous lifetime were pretty awful or pretty karmic, in the negative sense, right? Now, not 100% of the time, it's something very serious. It's something to be worked out in this lifetime. And of course, also in the case of Saturn or even Moon or even Sun, there could be even like a parental influence, okay, from a previous lifetime. Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune seem to be associated with a past life like teacher-student, or we have even been siblings, or we've, that's actually more Mercury, sorry, but sometimes Jupiter too. It also could show that we were in some form of like spiritual study group in a previous lifetime, or even, and this might be like too far out for some of you guys, but like even in like the between life state. I don't know if you guys have read like the books Michael Newton or all about like life between lives regressions. I feel like Uranus, Neptune, and what did I say there? Jupiter. It could be that you're from some sort of similar soul group in the between life state. So not necessarily past life, but like in between lives, right? Now, that's just, from what I've seen. You guys can verify that in your own experiences. So pretty much any planet conjunct to the south node. We could also go into asteroids. That's going to be a whole other thing. I don't use a lot of asteroids. I just use the major ones. But stuff like Juno, Ceres, like this could also signify something past life related as well if it's conjunct to the south node. Now, interestingly, I've actually seen, like in my personal experience of doing past life work on myself, north node conjunctions to be just as often past life as south node conjunctions. So the south node is usually classified as like the past life, right? And then the north node is more about the future and like this life and your destiny, right? But I've actually seen a very common theme for myself. Moon conjunct the north node specifically was the most common for me in people that were in my past lives, significantly, like more than one occurrence in a past life. So that one was really strong for me. So, I have a video on Moon conjunct the North Node synastry. I have a video on almost every planet conjunct either the South or the North Node in synastry, by the way, actually. And so if you want to know more about each individual placement, you can check out those videos. That's not what I'm talking about in this video. I'm not going into each one deeply. I kind of just want to like share some of my thoughts with you guys and get your thoughts as well. But yeah, Moon conjunct the North Node, I feel like is like a soul helper. Like this is someone who you have some sort of agreement with that they're going to help your destiny unfold. Okay, if it's your North Node. And then if it's your moon to their North Node, it's like you're the soul helper. Now it could switch back and forth. I mean, you're both helping each other, but it does seem to me, and like I have had this said before about these significant people who had their moon conjunct my North Node, that like there was some agreement between lives or prior lives that like these people would help me in my mission in this lifetime. And some of the past lives were actually quite difficult and karmic. So like maybe this is like, a repayment of past errors and now they're helping me in this lifetime. I don't know. So that's just something interesting. That was actually what inspired me to make this video today. I was like, I got to talk about that. Now, there's another one that I've had where it's like when you have Moon and Venus conjunct to the North Node in Synastry, I've seen that be a past life where there we were both women and this person is actually male. So like when you're thinking of the Moon and Venus, there could be like female themes as well, like mother or sister, or like you're both women, or like when we're seeing like Sun and Mars and the masculine planets, Jupiter, Saturn, right? That could be, or Uranus, that could be more like you were both males, right? Like in different lifetimes, we've been different genders. So that's just kind of something interesting that I've noted is like the feminine planets, when both of them are occurring in Synastry, like Moon and Venus, of course, there's others like Neptune could be considered feminine too, Pluto definitely more feminine than not, but yeah, so when there's like a multitude of like the feminine planets, specifically Moon or Venus in the Synastry conjunct to North Node, I've seen that in where we were both women, and I could see it being the same for the South Node, although I haven't personally verified that. So you do want to really meditate on like the energy of the planet, and then also I don't want you to take this too literally because your experiences may be different than my own. Like, regress yourself into your past life and see what comes up, and then maybe it'll be totally different. I mean, maybe you could have Moon conjunct the South Node or North Node, and it's like that was your father, or you were their father. Like, you don't want to be super strict to these like rules, because when you're working with past lives, you want to be very intuitive about it. You want to be very open. You don't want to go into a meditation or a regression thinking, okay, I'm going to figure out that so and so was actually my dad in a past life or something. It's like you don't want to be too strict like that. You want to allow yourself to be open to what is going to be shown to you. And, the stuff that you're going to come up with might actually shock you. Like, this stuff I'm telling you, like, this is not what I would have expected. And this, in some cases, it's not even the people that I would have expected. Like, you might have someone that you're really attached to and you're really obsessed with, and you really think it's someone from a past life. And then you do a bunch of past life regressions. They don't even show up. It's all these other people that you didn't really care about as much. So you also don't want to be attached to it, like being a certain person, or the relationship being a certain way. And also, you're only allowed to be shown what will actually serve you in this moment. Your soul and God and your spirit team, like, they won't let you see something if it would traumatize you or if it would actually like deter you from your spiritual mission. You're only allowed to be seen what is truly for your highest good. So like, there's also the thing that if you were to be shown every single past life you've ever had, like in this moment, that would be too destabilizing and traumatizing that like it might actually hinder your mission rather than, move you forward. So there's always that too. Like, and now I'm talking a lot more about spiritual things that I've learned in my life rather than even astrology, but I trust that like who is meant to hear this and, be healed by this will. And I always do like to keep it real and just do videos on what I'm being called to do in the moment. So I trust that someone will have wanted to hear this, even if it's not like the most like synthesized or like, it's not like a list. I'm just kind of sharing some of my thoughts, right? So, okay, those are the big ones. So 12th house, South Node, North Node, surprisingly, just as common as South Node. And then this is another too. Saturn being the planet of karma, it does seem to be that when there's strong aspects of Saturn, especially squares too of Saturn in the synastry, that this is some sort of past life thing to be worked on as well. Now, that could be because I have my Saturn in the 12th house in my natal chart, that Saturn is like a karmic theme. But I think that you would probably also agree that when there's a heavy Saturn influence in the synastry, that this is a karmic relationship, this is a karmic bond. You could also say Pluto as well, of course, because of the intensity of Pluto. It's almost as if the way that Pluto synastry makes people act is like, this is going far beyond this life, and this is some sort of contract, and this is some sort of soul thing, right? And you could actually say that about all of the outer planets. I do think I have one book also that mentions, like, actually, yeah, it's a really good book, Karmic Connections. That's it right there. By Judy Hall. So she kind of goes into some of this deeper stuff, like the between life state and these pre-incarnation agreements when we have like Neptune synastry, Uranus synastry, Pluto synastry, nodal synastry. Really good, really good. Highly recommend that book. I don't intend to like share everything that she said in that book here with you guys, but I think you guys might like that book if you haven't already read that book, if you're interested in this video. But yeah, and then yeah, Jupiter could be positive karma. So, Saturn could technically be, more negative karma, more issues to be worked out. All karma is valuable. It's all good. Like, on the soul level, you want to work through this stuff. And the best way to work through karma and burn through it is with your relationships with other people. And I do want to mention that a lot of these people that I'm talking about, that I'm having my experiences with, were not romantic in this lifetime. So it's not just like the romantic relationships that we're doing our learning, we're doing our school. It's all relationships. So anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts, you guys. Didn't mean to just ramble on here for the whole video. I mean, I guess I did. That was kind of my intention, actually. So, love you guys. Thanks for watching. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them, and we'll talk soon. Bye.